Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today. I'm Sakshi Batra. Well, there is little doubt that women in India, whether homemakers or self-employed or even salaried professionals, are becoming increasingly savvier about money. Today, as women gain more financial independence more and more rapidly, more than ever before, it is getting more imperative to have open and meaningful discussions about money and investments. Now, to discuss smart financial decisions for every woman to manage their finances very, very confidently, I'm going to be joined by Dipika Jaikishan. She's the CEO and co-founder of Basis, which is a financial services platform, and that's designed especially for Indian women. Thank you so much, Dipika, for taking the time out. Appreciate you joining in. Let me kickstart by asking you that while most women are today earning, why is it more important and critical for women to also manage their finances independently?
Thanks for having me on the show, Sakshi. And I think great question, right? We don't talk about this enough as much as we should. Let's start with some facts, right? If we talk about just the capital market investments, we all hear about, so many fintechs and you can invest in stocks and all that is happening. But a self-declared number from most of the fintechs is that only 20% of their users are women. And that also is going to be a slightly exaggerated number because chances are from that 20%, accounts are managed by husbands, by brothers, by fathers, by some other man in the family, right?
Yes.
Just the point you made that increasingly where we're making money, we're earning wealth, but we're not doing much in terms of being involved in multiplying that wealth or like just that whole wealth creation exercise. India is also now at a point where we have our largest population of single women. Yeah. Right. And obviously, if that woman is handing over her money to somebody else to manage, she's doing herself a disservice. She needs to be a lot more involved with it. The decisions she needs to make with her money will be very different from, say, a married woman or a young mom, or again, all these we're talking about urban professional women like you and me. We're unfortunately not in a place like trust is great, but we're not in a place where we can entirely trust someone with our money anymore. Not because someone's going to do something wrong, but if anything we learned since COVID, since 2020, is we need to be involved in financial decision making, our own, but most importantly with the family. We need to be involved in that planning stage so that we're decision makers, we have a voice in terms of, hey, this should be done with my money or this shouldn't be done with my money.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. I also wanted to have one more question as a follow-up to this, that is it really different for men and women, the way they approach financial planning?
100%, Sakshi. If you and me were to sit in a room and talk to men about our investments, our approach, our thought process would be really different, right? Let's start with returns. When you talk to men, the language of investments is mostly returns. If somebody's making a recommendation of like, invest in this or invest in this property or this stock, the question is, how much will I make? Like, what will my returns look like? But if it were you or me or any other woman in the room, chances are we would be like, oh, like, does this fit into my plan? Is this a part of my roadmap? If not, I probably will not even indulge in that conversation more, that this doesn't fit into like my scheme of things, right? So very rarely, I would say 1 out of 10 women talk about returns. Not because she's not interested in making money, but because she knows her priorities are slightly different. I know this money I need it in 5 years, so I will choose an investment that aligns with it. Not that, oh, I will make like 20% return, so let me just jump the gun and make a certain investment. I think besides that stuff, we all know, right? As women, we take more career breaks than men.
Yes.
This could be to have a child. This could be to like, elderly care. This could be, husband is moving countries, so I'm the one who will bite the bullet and, give up on my job, which obviously has a financial impact, which is very rarely factored into our financial plans, because even financial planning is so typical. It's done exactly the same way for men and women, often not factoring these different life situations that might arise for her. If we talk about health insurance, even, right, a woman needs a lot more than a man. Because again, we're prone to a lot more illnesses, unfortunately, just by virtue of being women, right? Not our fault, but biologically, we're probably going to be hospitalized a lot more than men over the lifetime. From a life insurance perspective, we're going to outlive men. If you look in our own families, chances are like our grandmoms have outlived our grandfathers anywhere between 5 to 10 years, right? So it means I'm going to live longer than my partner. But hey, guess what? We didn't really plan for my finances for that period of time. We
Very
really missed out on these subtleties when it comes to a woman's financial life, which really harms her when the need for that cash flow actually arises.
You're right. So, keeping this in mind, that women tend to outlive their partners, have a have a longer life, and apart from that, the career breaks that you talked about, the importance of having an emergency fund, is that also more for women?
Absolutely, right? If you just talk from a break perspective, I took a career break when I got married. It's meant to be for 3 months. It extended into a good 7 months. I was taking a break after 10 years of work, right? And I was like, oh, much deserved, etc. And I would have loved for it to have extended even before, beyond that 7 months.
Yeah.
But I was like, guess what? I've like run out of that emergency stash or emergency cash of money that I'd kept, which taught me that, at any point, 6 months may not be enough for me. I need to keep at least 12 months worth of like expenses aside, right? So I think every woman, irrespective of age or stage, needs to have, I don't want to call it an emergency fund because that's really scary. Let's call it a peace of mind fund, right? Like every woman needs to have this peace of mind fund kept aside. It could be 3 months worth of your expenses. It could be 6 months. It could be up to 12 months worth of your expenses, depending on your age and stage. So as you kind of grow in your career, your expenses might increase, a lot more responsibility when you're taking a career break, which means you might need a longer duration of funds kept aside to keep you going if you choose to like take a break at that point in time.
Okay, understood that. What about a step-by-step approach that you think women must have when it comes to financial planning? What is the best way to go forward?
I think very simple. This is probably like done to death. We've all heard of it. We've read about it. I don't know how many of us actually do it, right? But step one, literally putting this peace of mind fund in place. Just identifying that tomorrow, if I don't have a job, what are my expenses that will still continue? Okay, chances are it's not going to be my credit card expenses and my travel and all that. If I don't have a job, I'm not going to probably spend on all that. But my regular stuff, my rent, my EMIs, my maintenance, kids' school fees, all that is going to continue. So just put down what are my fixed expenses that will continue no matter what. So start with putting aside 3 months worth of those expenses, right? I can tell you 12 months and really scare you and make it overwhelming.
Yeah.
But start with 3 months worth of your expenses. Next thing, just put down 3 financial goals. One that's coming up in the next 1 year, one that's coming up in the next 3 to 5 years, and one that's coming up like 5 years and beyond, right? This is something you can do on your own. If you want to take it one level higher, you can like work with a financial advisor or a planner who can help you through this exercise, because chances are you have a 5-year long goal, right? And you might want to buy a house, but guess what? Again, as women, we very rarely have credit scores. So if I go to take a home loan, I need to know now that, hey, I'll need a credit score to like, get that loan then. Otherwise, my husband or my father has to sign off with me. So doing this exercise very early on helps you like leap forward to get to those objectives, right? So that's why I said just keep it simple, put 3 down. I think one thing we absolutely cannot miss as women is what I talked about earlier as well, is health insurance and life insurance, right? Especially if you're financially providing to your family, whether it's husband and kids or whether it's your parents. If you're financially providing to a family, you need life insurance. If you're single and that's how you want to remain, you don't need it. But health insurance is an absolute must. Health insurance and a critical illness policy for women is an absolute must. The covers will depend on our age and stage, but these are things that all of us, all the women watching this and you and me have to have in place for ourselves.
Absolutely. So we've already talked about the importance of having an emergency fund that's stashed ready for you for emergencies, having insurance, adequate insurance for both health and life insurance to get you covered for any kind of emergencies as well, and your family protection as well. And of course, those critical illnesses that you just talked about, because we are more prone to get illnesses as well. But apart from that, when we talk about investments now, most of the women out there, we think that investing in gold jewelry is like, the thing which we have been taught in our families, always in our tradition, to pass on those jewelry so that, that is your emergency investment option. But does gold really help you out in emergencies, and how should one really approach, especially women, when it comes to gold investment?
So I think standard rule, Sakshi, is that gold is not being used for consumption. I think first of all, like let's keep these two separate. What gold I'm going to wear is very different from the gold I'm going to invest in, right? Because
Yes.
I'm probably never going to sell my earrings. I might say, oh, worst case scenario, but we're never going to do it, right? That's not how culturally we are.
Yeah.
So I think if we're talking about gold as an investment, 5 to 10% of your total investment can be in gold. And this
Okay.
should be in gold in financial form, right? When I say financial
Okay.
form, it can be in gold ETFs, it can be in gold mutual funds, it can be in digital gold. Sovereign gold bonds of the government are a great option if you want that like security, like psychological security when it comes to your money. So
Absolutely.
when I'm saying like, when I say 5 to 10%, so if your total investment value is 10 lakh rupees, not more than 1 lakh should be in gold, right? Gold is just a protection. Just let's look at what's happened in the last couple of months. When things were really uncertain, that's when gold did well. So it just serves as a security and protection in your portfolio more than anything else.
Right, absolutely. Now, if I come to understand from you, which are the top investment options that you think for FY23 women must have in their portfolio, what would they be?
So I'll take a step back. Actually, I'll tell you what women miss out on their portfolio, right? So I think I'll sort of recommend this from there. When it comes to tax savings, right? All of us have to do tax savings
Yes.
for this year. Somehow men are a lot more prudent with that. But as women, we choose the typical options. OPPF, like easy, let me just do it very quickly and I'm done. But I think another one thing that women should evaluate is tax saving mutual funds, right? They have a shorter lock-in period. They help you compound your money much better than other traditional investments. Don't, of course, we should do our PS, but don't entirely rely on that from an investment perspective, right? So I think another product that women can consider from a tax planning perspective is also the NPS. Not a lot of us know about this even, but it serves really well when we're talking about that longer retirement period, outliving men, etc. The NPS can serve as a great tool to, to really give us a cash flow at that point in time. But besides that, far too few women have. I mean, the numbers are getting better, but far too few women do SIPs and mutual funds, right? If you don't know where to begin, a hybrid mutual fund is a good place to start. Not too risky, not too safe, gives you that good head start into investments. And once you get the confidence, 3-6 months later, you can increase the amount. I give a very simple, it almost sounds silly, a very simple tip. If you don't know where to begin, one day's worth of your salary is a really good place to start. So if your salary is like 30,000 a month, let's say you're working 20 days a month, 1,500 rupees is a great place to start. And just start an SIP of 1,500 rupees in a hybrid fund. I'm not going to get into very specific recommendations. This is information we can look up. But this is really easy methods to like have the right investments in your portfolio.
Well, absolutely. You've given those right and practical tips, very, very practical and easy tips on how to decide how much to start off with, where to start off with, what all to include in your portfolio, which is absolutely essential. And when it comes to financial planning, first and foremost is perhaps security and safety of yourself, and which is why insurance and emergency funds definitely play a big role right there. Well, it's been great to speak with you, Dipika, and getting all these insights for all the women viewers of Business Today to help them get started on their financial independence journey, which is extremely important in today's day and age. Thank you so much for speaking with us on this platform.
Thank you for having me, and hope this was useful to all the women watching.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.